Hello, everyone, and welcome into the Mad Science Lab on the Fantasy Football Universe. I am Aaron St. Dennis. Follow me everywhere at FF Mad Scientist. Joined today by a stranger. I don't think I've ever met this guy. Is it Jeremy Shulman? Jeremy Shulman at FF_Rebel. How's it going, Jeremy?
Yes, sir. Yep, it's all good. I don't know why StreamYard made my Twitter handle disappear, but that's fine. Otherwise, we're doing okay, other than my lack of technology savvy. But that's
you know
right.
what
We'll
it
try
is?
to power
I
through.
switched over to the Mad Science Lab instead of FFU, so I probably don't have it configured to do that, and I must have manually done it myself. But you're supposed to be a smartass, and when I throw it to you, say, hey, first time, long time, as if I never met you before, as if we don't do a show 5 days a week together. So
let's
all right.
go.
Yeah, we're gonna do the New England Patriots. So let's see where this goes. The quarterback room is a completely new one. Well, I guess not. The Bailey Zappi's still there, but remember for like 2 weeks last year, was it the last year before, where Bailey Zappi was the hot commodity and he was the quarterback of the future and everyone overpaid? I remember getting a first rounder for Bailey Zappi not that long ago, and yeah, now he's behind Jacoby Brissett. But so we've got Drake May, the rookie out of North Carolina, Jacoby Brissett, Bailey Zappi, and Joe Milton. What are your thoughts here? I assume you're thinking this is a Jacoby Brissett start here to begin the season and kind of do the Andy Dalton, Justin Fields route where Drake May slowly takes over. Like, do you think he takes over mid-season, year two? He start week one? Well, what are your thoughts here on this QB room?
Yeah, as a fan, that's what I hope the Patriots do. I hope Jacoby Brissett starts the season. I think only JJ McCarthy has an interesting bye week toward the early middle of the season. I think the Pats might be at the end of the season. So the bye week situation where mid-season they just totally convert, I don't think works here for the Pats. So I think it's just going to have to be Jacoby Brissett filling in for a month and a half. And then Drake May kind of figuring out what works for the offense and then coming in. But yeah, if Jacoby Brissett starts all season, I would love that. Just as a fan, let's let Drake May sit. I don't think that's going to happen. They're going to get him in sooner rather than later. So yeah, we'll see. But I'm banking on Jacoby Brissett starting at least 4, if not 6 or even 8 games.
Yeah, you're right, because they have the last bye week. It's week 14. So at that point, I guess they could throw him in like they did with Sam Howell, throw him in for a game or two to end the season. But you might as well, I guess they could be out of it by then and say, why the hell not? But it doesn't really work for, the mid-season bye week transition. If you want any of this, head over to fantasyfootballuniverse.com. We have individual team pages. As you can see here, we've got the schedule. They finished last year 16th in the AFC, 4-13. We've also got depth charts, offense and defense. And we have a cute little fancy little weather thing at the bottom here. This updates live. So on game day in season, you've got those decisions on, is it going to be snowy? If you have kickers and whatnot, we got this updates live here based on their stadium. So that's helpful as well. I was thinking the same thing, for the me who has some Drake May shares, I'd love to see him start, but I know it's selfish to say that early, but I am always of the belief that rookie quarterbacks are better off taking this slow route here, like not necessarily the Jordan Love extended 3-year plan, but we see the ones where they get thrown in week 1 and they just get fucking slaughtered. I mean, I get it. Zach Wilson probably wasn't great. The situation wasn't great, but the ones who start early just get slaughtered in year 1. I'm sure you never thought you'd hear yourself say, I hope Jacoby Brissett starts, but that's where we are. But it's probably the safe one, because I'm sure no one wanted to see Andy Dalton start, but it was probably the right play, unless you had Justin Fields as your starting quarterback in fantasy. Running back room got a little more steady, and if you were buying the Ramondre dip, the dip is gone. He signed a 4-year extension, so we've got Ramondre, Antonio Gibson, Kevin Harris, and Jermichael Hasty. This one worried me because I thought Antonio Gibson's skill set kind of mirrored Ramondre. So I said, is this going to be a 50-50 timeshare here? The contract given to Stevenson would indicate that Gibson's probably just he's going to spell him on, when Ramondre needs a breather there. How do you see this backfield shaping out?
Yeah, I kind of all along always thought that Ramondre was the guy there. He's proven that. I
Yeah,
think.
I'll give
Uh,
you just stop. You're gonna want to hear this. I'll give you credit there. I hedged my bets. You said Ramondre all along. You were right.
well,
That was
but
painful to
here's
say, but fuck.
But here's why is because, we saw Zeke come in and absolutely kind of pretty much command a 50-50 split with Ramondre there.
Yeah.
Especially there was a little bit of Ramondre, injury mixed in as well. But this season, I think with everybody fully healthy, Antonio Gibson profiles as a third down back. He's good at receiving the football. The problem is Ramondre is just a better pass blocker. So the thing is he's going to be on the field in a fair amount of those situations as well, especially if Brissett is out there because we know that he's not nearly as mobile as Drake May anymore. And Antonio Gibson, at least in OTAs, was working out of the slot. So we know the Pats have a lot of wide receivers here now, but Gibson has the ability to work out of the backfield, work out of the slot. He's more of a situational weapon, I think. I don't think the pass blocking is going to come for him magically. So Ramondre is still going to have a fair amount of passing game work as well. And we know he's the better first and second down rusher and the goal line guy. So in a bad offense, I want the guy who's going to get most of the work, especially if he's getting some receiving work, and that's Ramondre for me.
He's someone I've had a lot of actually. He's going, they say ADP is 22nd ECR. In some of the dynasty leagues, he's been going even later. Like you're getting to the point where I'm never the Ramondre guy, but he got to the point in a couple of my startups where I just said, fuck it. You know what? I'm going to take Ramondre. He's going with some of the backups. And I think he's becoming a value. I know his ADP has shot up in the last week. So the days of buying the dip are over. Was he significantly hurt last year, or did Zeke just bite really heavy into his workload? Because he finished as RB 35. That seemed way lower than I expected.
Think he was out for 2 or 3 games and then was hobbled for a couple of games, but it wasn't a significant injury. I'm just having a look right now. He was
Is it
out.
just
If
Zeke
we
then?
load up, he was out 3 games, and then at really the last 5 games. So he missed 5.5 games pretty significantly.
Oh, okay.
But he had 11 full games of work.
That makes sense.
So it is what it is. Yeah.
The wide receiving room here is interesting. There's a couple of young targets here, right? Especially in Dynasty, where they're all really like the highest ADP here is 73. So they're all pretty much free. And there's, like I said, 3 of them here to start that I don't mind taking shots on. I'm hoping one will hit. We've got Demario Douglas, Jalen Polk, Javon Baker, then followed up with Kendrick Bourne, KJ Osborne, Juju Smith Schuster. Wide receiver 6th on this depth chart that we get supplied by Fantasy Pros.
So sad.
Yeah, wide receiver 6. Then we have Tyquan Thornton, Kayshawn Booty, and Jalen Rieger. So, like at first glance here, you've got 9 receivers who, at some point, I thought were all fantasy relevant and all had potential. Like we've all moved on from Rieger for the most part. Booty got cut by the Chiefs. Was it the Chiefs or, anyways? But there's
No,
some.
yeah.
Yeah, was it the Chiefs that he got cut? He had an
No,
issue for
he was
sure.
drafted. He was drafted by the Pats. He just was kind of a disappointment all around.
Was he really Keyshawn Boutte? I thought he was.
Pretty sure. Yeah.
Did he not get drafted by the Chiefs and got cut? Who am I thinking? Someone got cut for an off-season issue. Oh, I don't remember who I'm thinking. I'll have to look that up while you're talking. But so there is some talent here where I think one of these guys could have some value. The problem is, I'm gonna throw darts at several of them and hope in one league I hit the guy here who does blow up. I think someone will be relevant, but what are your thoughts here? Who do you think is relevant?
Yeah, I think that's the only problem is someone will be, but who is it? And it's only going to be one person. So it could be Jalen Polk. He's the cheaper option. I think Demario Douglas, we're seeing Pops kind of skyrocket in terms of his value, but that's not saying much. He's still like at most a wide receiver 3 at the moment. So I'm betting on Pop. Positive reports out of camp are good. I don't think Javon Baker is a factor in year 1 from a fantasy perspective. I hope he shows some flashes so that we have some upside there baked in for the future. But I'll go Pop, in a PPR league, likely playing the slot. You're going to see Polk. The nice thing is about this room is that a lot of these guys can be mixed and matched and moved all over the field. They can play inside, they can play outside. But I don't have a lot of faith in Brissett or, less so May to really make many of these guys relevant. So I'll go with Pop. I'll try out Polk, but otherwise, yeah, I mean, these guys are fine, but from fantasy in this situation, I'm out on everybody else.
You were right. It was Booty was drafted by the Patriots. He had a gambling and an arrest early last year as a rookie, and it looks like they cut him to their practice squad, but brought him back. So that's the second time I've had to say you're right this show. If I do it a third time, I quit. I'm just letting you know that. Just so you know.
Just end it. Just end the recording and
quit. Nothing good can come from this. The apocalypse happens. You know, cats and dogs get along. It's all over. So moving on to the
no
tight
Calvin
end
Ridley
room.
on this team.
Fuck God, I hate you. All right, we got Hunter Henry, who always seems to somehow finish as a high-end tight end too. Tight end 19, he's going right now. So he's always a good depth signing or a depth draft pick here if you've got, a more risky player in front of him. Jaheim Bell, who I always thought profiled as a fullback in the NFL. Austin Hooper and Mitchell Wilcox, who I do a lot of fantasy. I've never heard of him. So what are your thoughts here on these tight ends?
Pass, I'm not interested in any of them for fantasy. I mean, Hunter Henry is a good reality tight end. I like him for the team. But he's kind of a red zone weapon since we don't really have that big bodied outside of Polk now. We don't really have that big bodied guy who can work open in the red zone. So he's been that guy. He had let's see. He had 9 touchdowns in his first year in New England, then 6 last year, only 2 in that middle season there. But he's that weapon there in the red zone. Otherwise, he's not really getting you the yardage. He's not getting you the yards per catch that you want. And with Drake May or Brissett, I don't think that's really going to change. So yeah, I'm just out on him. And like the other guys, forget it. Like Jaheim Bell, I don't really see much of anything other than a situational role for him. I think Austin Hooper is going to be on the field a ton, simply because he can block for Ramondre. And if this team wants to try to win games, they're going to have to slow them down. They're going to have to run the ball. I don't think the passing game is really going to be that effective at all.
Yeah. Henry seems like the absolute definition of touchdown dependent, because if he doesn't score, he's useless to you. All right. Moment of truth here. Based on, current ADP and value, 1 target, 1 avoid on this team. I'm sure there's going to be lots of avoids. The target's going to be fun. I guess, see, it's tough because Ramondre would have been my target, but he's probably going 15 spots higher than he was in this ADP. But so who are you targeting? Who are you avoiding on the Pats?
I'm not targeting anyone. If you twist my arm and I have to pick one, I'll pick Jalen Polk. I'll just go with the unknown. Hope that he's worth his draft capital. We know who Demario Douglas is. Even though he's looking great, and the offense may run through him simply because he's going to be a PPR machine, short, intermediate routes over the middle. You just hope that Polk is a guy who can, build off of what he was able to show in Washington last season, nearly winning a national championship in a great offense. And I'm not totally sure what the Pats are going to roll out in terms of scheme here on offense, but I'll bet on Polk, especially at his ADP, which is not very high. What is he listed as? I can't see. It's a little small.
ADP 73, wide receiver 73.
Wide receiver 7. Yeah. So that's basically free. Yeah. I'll bet on him that maybe he can produce high-end wide receiver 4, maybe even low-end wide receiver 3 numbers in his first season.
It's tough to really avoid anyone on this roster. They're all free. So is there anyone you're really avoiding? Like, I guess Ramondre's price is going to go up. And I guess if Ramondre gets expensive again, I'd avoid him. But like, I'd say Demario Douglas, but how do you avoid Demario Douglas? He's free. Drake May, I guess in redraft, I'm avoiding. I don't really want him as my starter.
Yeah, agree there. But in 1 QB, I don't think it's really much of an issue. He's, unless he's rushing for like 50 yards a game, which it's possible that he's just running away from everybody. But yeah, I don't want anything to do with him. We'll say Antonio Gibson. I don't think Hunter Henry's getting much steam, but Gibson was getting the steam. If somebody thinks that Gibson has the receiving role on lock in New England, number 1, I would say he doesn't. Number 2, I would say let's live in a world for a minute where he does. I just don't think that there's going to be the volume there in this, slow-paced offense with Drake May for at least half the season. Is Drake May going to check the ball down? No, he's going to tuck it and run for 6 yards. Instead of checking down to Gibson when he's on the field. And you don't want Gibson on the field because you don't want your rookie QB blown up. So you want Ramondre back there or Bell. So yeah, I'm totally out on Gibson. I want nothing to do with him. If anyone is still willing to buy him and thinks that there's a role, I'm selling him, and I won't draft him in the redraft.
All right, let's get to the final part, the schedule. Let's see if you can have some homerism here and find a way to make the Patriots a 10-win team. Spoiler alert, we're 5 teams into my 32-team preview, and every team is good this year. Every single team has 12 wins, I think. So I'll say the matchup, you say win or loss. Starting week 1 at Cincinnati.
No chance. No. Loss.
Week 2, home against the Seahawks.
They're at home. It might be a little bit closer, but no way. That offense is going to bounce back in Seattle.
Week 3 at the Jets.
No, big loss. The Jets are going to be monsters this year, especially on the defensive side of the ball. That's something we don't talk a lot about. Robert Saleh, that's his bread and butter right there. And they're just going to be monsters on that end. And, run the football, Aaron Rodgers, the Jets win pretty easily, I'd say. So loss.
Week 4 at the 49ers.
No, 49ers going to the Super Bowl. That's a loss.
Oh, it's going to be hard for them to go to the Super Bowl when the Lions are there, but that's another story. Week 5, home against the Dolphins.
No chance. And I'll be quick about this, but if you think that the Patriots are going to be anywhere near the defensive unit that they were last season with the same pieces, now that Belichick is gone, Gerard Mayo's fine. He's probably a good coach. He's probably got the scheme. He played in the system great. But Bill Belichick is just on another 3-4 different levels. This is not going to be good. And that Miami offense is insane. Yeah. So Miami wins. That's another loss.
But that's a good point to bring up. I think the other day you asked me where I had the Rams in my DST, and I didn't realize it till I was looking. I have the Patriots ranked as a DST lower than I've had them ranked in 15 years. So, and then I looked through and I said, oh, it makes sense. All right, week 6, home against the Texans.
Especially this beginning of the schedule, they're going to get eaten alive, that defense. This is another loss.
Week 7, home against the Jags.
We'll give them a win. We'll just say, why not? If there's a team they can beat here, it is the Jags. I think the Jags improve, but they're not a playoff team, and they're still going to be susceptible to teams like the Patriots who can slow it down. So I'm going to give them a W here.
Week 8, home to the Jets.
No chance. That's a loss.
All righty. Week 9 at Tennessee. I would have said Pats if this was in New England, but at Tennessee, I don't know.
What they have going for him is Tennessee. Yeah, Tennessee's defense is bad. I'm not giving the Patriots too much credit here. Their offense will be better than last season. Why not? Let's go W.
All right, let's go W. All right, week 10 at the Bears.
No, this is a loss. Caleb will be in full, command of this offense. They're going to be rolling, and that defense is much improved, so that's an L.
Week 11, home to the Rams.
No chance. The Rams, despite their defensive deficiencies, their offense is going to be humming. Even with injuries, they're going to be fine. The Rams win that one, so that's an L.
Week 12 in Miami. That seems like a winnable game because I don't have faith in the Dolphins, and it's divisional, but in Miami.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking. I can't have them lose every single divisional game, but I might here. They got a split with Miami. It might be reversed now that I think about it. They might win.
Okay, so why don't we put a loss here, and I'll change them. I'll change the earlier one to a win there. I'll put this as because that's what I was thinking. I think they're more likely to win it at home than on the road, and so then they'd be starting 1-5 instead of 1-6. So, all right. Week 13, we have home to the Colts.
No, that's an L. Let's assume Anthony Richardson is injured. I don't think it matters. Joe Flacco will step right in. they won't miss a beat, and the Colts will be good enough. Yeah, the Patriots will lose that one too.
All righty, one sec. Week 12. Oh, sorry, I'm falling behind. Week 14 is the bye. That's why. Week 15 at the Cardinals. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm going to give them a W here because the remaining 3 games, I'm going to give them losses all around. I think that it depends. So they'll win against the Cardinals simply because that Cardinals defense is so bad. If they're able to even come close to limiting that offense, and the Cardinals, look, MHJ, great, but they're not going to be locked in playoff team in the NFC in my mind. So I'll give them the W. And then against Buffalo, those are 2 L's. My one question is, where do they play in week 17? Are they home or are they in LA?
They're home for the last 2 games. The TBD is the time.
I think the Chargers game will be close, but I'm going to give them the L, 3 L's to close out the season.
All righty. So you have them going 4-13, which is probably the most realistic anyone's given on their team, but it just shows you don't have a whole lot of faith here. So, all righty. That is a wrap on the New England Patriots. Thank you, Jeremy, for joining me. If you want to see more on the Patriots here or the rest of our content, head over to fantasyfootballuniverse.com. Check back tomorrow. We have Dustin Ludke talking Buffalo Bills, I believe. So we stay in the AFC East. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Check back tomorrow. Take care, everyone.